Every morning when you wake up, who do you think actually determines the value of the money in your wallet, the value of your hard work? The bureaucrats in suits in the dark corridors of central banks, or the emotionless algorithms of the stock market executing trades in milliseconds? You are wrong. As humanity, we too quickly believed the illusion that we could control the immense chaos of the universe with simple laws. We wrote a few lines of complex code, called it blockchain, and thought we broke our financial chains. For years, we relentlessly searched for who Satoshi Nakamoto was. But the question that should truly terrify us wasn't who it was. The question was when it was. Have you ever wondered how a mere computer software can direct the massive trillion-dollar global liquidity every 1,460 days? Exactly every 4 years, with millimeter perfect and unerring precision. Why did the crypto markets explode with inexplicable hysteria and mass madness in 2013, 2017, and 2021? We were told by the systems managers that this was a simple mathematical formula, the halving. This is like explaining the massive tides in the ocean simply as the movement of water, ignoring the immense gravitational pull of the moon that drags that entire ocean towards the sky. It is vastly incomplete and arrogant. Today, I will show you that those red and green candlestick charts you watch on screens for hours every day are not just simple financial data. They are not merely blinking pixels on a screen, they are the real time ECG paper of humanity's collective nervous system, its greed, and its profound terror. And this flawless nervous system is managed second by second by the two solemn, massive metronomes of our solar system, Saturn and Uranus. When these two giants aligned in 1988, a new 45-year macro clock was set, one we cannot escape. Bitcoin's past bull runs matched day by day, second by second, with the harsh geometric angles these two planets formed with each other. The halving? That was just a tiny spark that ignited this gunpowder. On this desolate rock spinning around the sun at hundreds of thousands of kilometers per hour, we think we make decisions of our own free will. Yet, when Earth's electromagnetic field resonates with gravitational whispers, our biology instantly releases dopamine and cortisol. The crypto market is open 24/7. Therefore, Bitcoin is the most unfiltered reflection of humanity's pure fear and anticipation in the universe. However, 2024 broke the mold for the first time and the system cracked. Why? Because in 2025, Uranus moves into Gemini, and that 45-year clock that made us feel safe is permanently shattered. To understand that great reset in 2026, we must first decipher the ancient codes of the past. If you are ready, let's begin. We think those shiny black pieces of glass in our pockets are the world's first computers. Let me take you to 10,000 BC, to the ground zero of civilization, Göbekli Tepe. Those massive T-pillars were not just primitive temples built for religious rituals. They were gigantic, silent, stone computers calculating cosmic cycles and the rising of the star Sirius with millimeter perfect angles. In ancient Babylon and Sumer, reading the sky was the state's most critical data science department. The sky was a massive, infallible Excel spreadsheet for them. Jupiter appearing on the horizon determined next year's grain prices. Sumer's magnificent base 60 mathematics still lives on today in the watches on our wrists. What do all these ancient stones have to do with modern day Bitcoin? While creating the absolute scarcity of 21 million, Satoshi embedded a specific number into the code 210,000 blocks. Every 210,000 blocks, the supply halves, which averages to about 4 years. If you think Satoshi chose this 4-year period randomly, you understand nothing about economics. There is an unshakable rule in economics called the kitchen cycle. The cycle of expansion and contraction of central bank credits lasts exactly 40 to 50 months, roughly 4 years. Satoshi took humanity's millennia-old psychological and economic pulse and locked it into a cryptographic metronome. When we overlay the M2 money supply chart with Bitcoin's price chart, the overlap is 99%. The halving code absorbs this energy by creating a ruthless supply shock. While we think we are writing our own modern code in our air-conditioned rooms, we are actually running a digital, ruthless version of a forgotten Babylonian tablet buried in the sand thousands of years ago. However, M2 liquidity and Satoshi's code are only the human dimension of this grand game. What truly drives the markets are not macro data, but the psychology of the people who write those codes and panic. And that human psychology is fundamentally tethered to Earth's electromagnetic field, to that 45-year silent, relentless gravitational war waged over us by Saturn and Uranus. Modern science's greatest blindness is instantly ignoring what it cannot measure with its tools. In 1955, when French statistician Michel Gauquelin found a statistical anomaly between the position of the planet Mars and the birth moments of elite athletes, he was excommunicated from the academic world. Yet today, billion-dollar algorithms managing trillions of dollars on Wall Street optimize their trading decisions based on lunar cycles. Because financial markets are not made of cold numbers, but of humanity's warm greed. When Saturn, the old order, and Uranus, rebellion, conjoined in the sky in 1988, the 45-year mainspring was wound. When these two planets stood in exact opposition in 2008, global finance collapsed, and Satoshi minted the Genesis block. This was no coincidence. Naive investors who believe the 4-year cycle lie think that only the supply shock magically sends the market soaring. Let's look at the hard math. 2013 peak, Jupiter formed a flawless trine angle with Saturn and Uranus. A pure expansion energy was injected into the code. 2017 ICO peak. In that hysterical week when the price hit $20,000 at mind-boggling speed, Saturn returned exactly to its starting degree in 1988, 29 degrees Sagittarius. 2021 double top bull, Saturn and Uranus were in an exact square, 90-degree aspect throughout the entire year. They created immense friction in Earth's electromagnetic field, and the system discharged. Those massive green candles on your charts are not the success of the code. They are the psychological discharge points of celestial tension upon human masses on Earth. What we call the halving is merely an internal clock, just a tiny spark. The actual massive gunpowder that spark will detonate is accumulated by the cyclical friction between Saturn and Uranus. When the supply shock and the external psychological tension created by the planets coincide, the market explodes parabolically. But what if the spark ignites and there is no gunpowder around? That immense danger between 2024 and 2026 lies hidden in the darkness of this misalignment. We think space is a dark, silent, and dead void. Yet this solar system we swim in is a massive, living, and vibrating electromagnetic pool. When Soviet scientist Alexander Chizhevsky proved that sunspots triggered economic depressions worldwide, he was exiled to a labor camp. Today, we know for a fact that as solar storms hit the Earth, stock market panics on Wall Street simultaneously break records. Why? Because we humans are also organically powered machines, running on electricity and sensitive to magnetism. When Uranus and Saturn form harsh angles in the sky, Earth's magnetic field stretches like a rubber band. That sudden cold stomach cramp you feel in front of the screen as the crypto market crashes is Uranus's euphoric excitement turning into Saturn's crushing fear in mere seconds. Your brain pumps cortisol. It is not your free will, but the invisible hand of universal gravity that presses the red sell button. Traditional stock exchanges close on weekends, they sleep at night. However, the crypto market is open 24/7. It doesn't rest, doesn't sleep, and has no human filter. That is why Bitcoin is the most flawless ECG machine in the universe, where the unfiltered, pure, biological, emotional state of millions of people on Earth is recorded instantly. Green candles depict dopamine in our brains, while massive red candles depict primal cortisol. But now, We are on the threshold of 2026. What if emotionless Wall Street algorithms with no nervous systems and massive institutional capital have entered this wild organic market? That fear filled panic selling of human biology means absolutely nothing to the AI bots managing trillion-dollar ETFs. They don't fear, they don't sweat, they only look at zeros and ones. That is exactly why the 4 year cycle you worship is currently dying in agony right before your eyes. The future will belong to machines, not biology. The 4 year cycle worked perfectly until 2024. But for the first time in history, Bitcoin reached an all time high before the halving even occurred. Because Wall Street giants, the institutional Saturn, invaded the market through ETFs and tamed the wild rebellion of the retail investor. Trillion-dollar giants like BlackRock have no feelings. The installation phase is over. We are now in the deployment phase. However, the real earthquake will happen in reality itself. Uranus moves into Gemini in 2026. We are entering the world of AGI and deepfakes, the signal wars. In an era where information is weaponized, where you cannot even trust your own eyes or the voice you hear, how will you prove what is real? In February 2026, Saturn and Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries at the Earth point, the system reset. In this global chaos where artificial intelligence transforms language and media into weapons of mass destruction, Bitcoin's role fundamentally changes. It ceases to be a speculative gambling tool. It becomes humanity's sole cryptographic reality anchor, verifying identities on the network, blocking the lies of artificial general intelligence, and connecting objective truth to the universe with its immutable mathematics. The 4 year cycle dies because we move from the childhood of speculation to the maturity of mathematical reality. The clocks of the universe may malfunction, but reality remains constant, not to believe, but to understand.